Well, look who it is. It's Little Miss World Traveler.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the hell time it is. How is everybody? Dougie, things
What's
look
up?
different for me. Things look a little different for you there, my friend. What'd you do? Did you
Is it
move
a
your background? What's wrong? What's going on over there?
new camera angle,
New
perhaps?
camera angle? I don't know.
Maybe I
Oh,
cleaned the lens.
it's looking good there, Dougie.
Oh, well, thank you. This is actually not many people know this. This is my actual hair color.
It is?
I removed the gray, and this is what was under.
It's amazing. I've got to do it now. I didn't realize I could do such a thing.
I think we should probably be twinsies.
Okay. If
That would be
I show
fun.
up anywhere with dark brown hair, something's wrong.
Exactly. Well, maybe I will go blonde.
Okay, do that.
I tried that, but that was nixed by the powers that be. That
The powers that
sometimes
be,
I was
aka the wife.
yes. I was like, can I go platinum blonde again? No.
No, you may not. It's looking
No.
good though.
No, thanks so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I am in an Uno's down the street from my house because I did not have enough signal at home to do this, and I'm still waiting for internet. So here we are. So excuse my lovely background.
That's all right. That's all right. People are still filtering in. Marianne Schneider, what's up, Marianne? Nice to see you. Kurt and Lori, what is up? Oh, thank you so much,
Lori
Kurt and
Johnson.
Lori. I appreciate that. I mean, that's very nice. Thank you. I was telling Trish, ladies and gentlemen, earlier that up until I think recently, like the last few years, I've always looked younger than my age. But I used to get carded pretty regularly up until several years ago at the grocery store. And then I'd be, oh, please, thank you so much. I'm 25. So are you
That
back
is
home
quite
now or
right.
still in FL? So that reminds me, Trish, tell us what you've been doing the past few days.
Yeah, I'd really love to. So yesterday I went to the Salvation Army in Central Florida, and we took a tour of this facility. And they run 3 stores from this facility, 3 different thrift stores.
Okay.
And it was really interesting. And I gotta say, I don't use this word often, but I'm going to use it. Inspirational. It was really great. I don't know much about. Um, I don't know much about the Salvation Army. I I don't know. They were always the guys with the bells, right? When you walked in at Christmas time, and they would be out there ringing. And
That's true.
yeah, and I just
The
didn't
bell
know.
and the bell and the pot.
Yeah, exactly, in the kettle. And I just didn't know much about them. And this was a really interesting thing. And the Salvation Army is kind of broken up into 2 different parts. There's the main corporation, which they call the corp or the core. And that is the guys with the bells and the main missions. And they run homeless shelters and they do lots of things. And then there is this thing called ARC. And this thrift store is an ARC store. So this section runs 3 different thrift stores, and they have a shelter there for men who were homeless, mostly drug addicts and or alcoholics. And they live there right at this facility. They have 111 beds, and they stay there for 6 months. And then depending on what happens, they can sometimes stay a little longer. And they work in the warehouse and they learn responsibility and they kind of do all these things. And so this whole thing is to get these men back into what, the Salvation Army guys were like, we're regular society. And it is just amazing. And so this facility, they do auctions 3 days a week. So you can
Okay.
go and buy gaylords of stuff right there. They have bales of clothing. And now I used to buy 100-pound bales. These are like 1,200-pound bales. These are big, huge bales of clothing that they sell. So it not only has a store there, they have the facility for some wholesaling that we would call it, and also these auctions. And it was a really great thing. It was awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So hopefully we're going to do this again. And when we do it again, I'll make sure to let everybody know, because everyone will be invited. You'll get to go. We'll have a class. We'll have lunch. We'll do some donuts and for breakfast, and we'll have a facility tour, and then we'll we'll shop and then we'll talk about what we buy and why. So it's a great thing for both the resellers and Salvation Army. And what I
No,
really loved about it, I just want to say this, like what I really loved about it is they're encouraging resellers to come to their stores. You know, a lot of us feel like we don't want to go to certain stores because they don't like us. This particular Salvation Army, they try to keep their prices low. They realize they want us to make money also. It was just a great experience.
yeah, no, that's a great organization, and that's good that they're open to resellers, because some of the options out there have way raised their prices, I guess, to compete. So,
Yeah,
but
it was great. It was really the whole thing was great. So I'm hoping that we can do it again. And next time we do it, I'll make sure everybody knows. So if you're in the Central Florida area, or if you want to come down, Patty Kaufman is in Alabama. She drove down. We did another reselling event the day before in Tampa with Cheryl Hinton's group. I went and spoke there with Dana Crawford. It was great. And Patty drove down for that. And today I spoke at another organization, another reseller meetup in Ovino. I think I'm saying that correct. And next week I got invited to come and speak to the Central Orlando meetup. So I'm going to go do that Tuesday. So it's going good.
That's Philip, right?
Yeah, that's Phil's. Yep, Phil Jackson.
All right. Phil's cool. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
He used to do a lot of radio work, actually, and recording and stuff like that. Kurt and Lori say, Trish, you always look young.
Oh, thank
Don't change a thing.
Thanks, Lori.
And thank you so much. Thank you, Pam. Doug looks so young as at the 80s again. We wish. I would do it all over again.
Yeah.
Trish, you have your own home in Florida. That's too cool.
So my dad died a few years ago and left me a little bit of money, and I bought a small place right outside of Disney because I'm a Disney girl at heart. I bought it to Airbnb. I'm not sure it will ever happen because I'm still working on it. It had a flood the week I bought it. It's been a thing. Yeah. But I'm here right now. It's going good.
And Trish is very handy. She fixed it all up herself.
Most of it I did, yeah.
Yeah, in the summers when Trish isn't there, I will stay there and sell and rent surfboards and give people their Hawaiian names.
I think that's a great idea.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yay, Salvation Army.
Yeah.
Yes, please give us a thumbs up.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Hey, Nan, thanks for being here.
So today, what are we talking about, Mr. Doug?
Today, we have another exciting topic that I believe Trish and I make fun and entertaining and interesting for you. Maybe sharing some anecdotes, things like that. Unfortunately, Trish cannot share any of her pizza at Uno's, but this episode today is brought to you by Uno's.
Brought to you by Uno's.
Uno's Pizza.
Florida.
I'm taking my mom to Orlando this fall. Maybe we can talk about the Airbnb idea. Look at this.
Kelly, you're the best, Kelly.
Carolyn, hello. Thanks for being here. Trish is shilling her side gig.
I'm not at all. I'm not even sure I'll ever do it. That was just the original idea, and then I got it, and then I'm like, I don't know about this. But anyways, Kelly, you and your mom can stay there. I just don't know if I'll let everyone in the world stay.
I'll be like, Trish, can I stay there? Mm-hmm.
Yes, you guys can.
No.
But let's talk about it. So we are going to talk today about data-driven selling. And yes. I think it's very important.
Yeah, and this is something we're into. Trish, I think, was traveling last week when we did reseller tips. We talked about data and analytics a bit, but just high level, something to look at, even if you just want to take, just the high level stuff and apply that. And basically, it's all about doing more of what works and less of what doesn't work. And the marketplaces have data. List Perfectly has data. We will try to get through and to all that, but learn the tools. Obviously, big standout is eBay's Seller Hub. Learn the tools, learn what you have available, and what you should do is see what is actionable, and that's basically information you can do something with.
And I think the thing about the data is you need to be open to the fact that sometimes what we like to do isn't what's selling,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
I this isn't true, but let's say I love salt and pepper shakers. Well, if I love them and I want them, but nobody wants to buy them, then it's not a good idea to keep investing in the salt and pepper shakers.
Yeah.
So making data decisions is just a good business decision. Now, that doesn't mean that what we like doesn't come into play, because some of us, we talk about this in mastermind sometimes, and I'm a money driven girl. I want to make the cha-ching sound, I
That's
want the
right.
cha-ching to go off. So what I want is to know that I'm going to be making money. So if I'm selling a widget and that widget is making money, I'm cool with it. I don't have to like the widget. I don't even have to know what the widget does. I don't care about the widget. There are a lot of us who get in this business because we like the selling, we like the buying, we like it all, and it gives us that dopamine hit, some of us. So I think you just have to make sure that you're steady between those two things.
Yeah, definitely. And Trish mentioned sales and analytics. List Perfectly's got that great sales and analytics section that's there on your left hand side. I would show you mine, but I don't want to reveal how much money I make.
Oh, okay. Is it more than $20?
As you know, I'm a 2 to 3 figure seller.
Exactly. So I gave you 20 for today.
There. Oh, thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome.
sold a 2004 Repro X-Wing fighter today. Yeah,
My little heart is a flutter. And how
I
much you
know.
get for it?
Not much. It wasn't complete, but I think
Yep.
somebody just got it to just to have it, maybe use it for parts or something like that. I can't niche down to arts and crafts. I'm very experienced in this area and love all the products, but there isn't a great secondary market for items. Yeah, that's a tough one. It's like,
But Kelly, the thing is that that, right? And that because you've looked at the data. You're not just out there buying it willy-nilly. And I guess that's what I want to make sure people understand, is that this data is available. Comping is available. The, eBay research is available. eBay gives us so much research. And then also you can do things like WorthPoint. If you're in a niche that
yeah,
isn't necessarily, eBay based, so maybe you're selling things that, are sold more on Christie's or, in other auction houses, then there's something like WorthPoint. The data is available. And all I'm saying is that we should be making decisions based on the data and not just what we want or what we like.
yeah. And like Trish said, the key is you obviously want to make money. And ladies and gentlemen, stop the show. Melissa W is here driving the freeways of Southern California, enjoying our 77-degree weather, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen, usually that would annoy me when you said 77 weather. Let's see what it is here. Because
All right.
usually I would want to kill you for saying such a thing.
Yes.
But not that I want to talk about this because my poor husband is at home freezing his butt off. It's
Ooh.
70 here. It is, well, it's not that bad at home right now. It's 18 at home.
Oh, well, you got a storm coming up through there. She's laughing.
I'm just glad I'm not there.
There we go. But back to what Trish was saying, but Melissa, thank you for chiming in. Please be careful. Don't ignore the rules of the road. Obey the rules of the road at all times. A car is not a toy. And if you tell me what that's from, I make a lot of obscure movie references. Tell me what that's from, and you get bonus points for today. But so Trish talking about those tools, those pricing tools. Obviously, you got WorthPoint, you've got Google Lens, Google that can search Google Shopping, and then those are built into List Perfectly as well. Well, thank you so much, Melissa.
And that's the great thing. Listen, whether you use List Perfectly or not, those things, we make it easier because they're integrated and you can do it right then. But all of this data is basically within your reach. You just have to know where to go get it. And the role of data in decision making, I really want to stress that. I think that all of us would be better resellers if we really were searching for the data and not just what we felt like. Making decisions based on comps, making decisions based on what is selling now, not what sold 3 years ago or not what sold before, what's selling now, and something is only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. And for she got the points. Kelly got no, she's wrong.
No,
Okay.
that is incorrect. I apologize.
Okay.
Incorrect.
You know, and the thing about data is that it's black and white. It is what it is. There's no feelings involved.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of us who like to sell certain things because we like them. We get into this business, a lot of people, because we like the things. We like to collect the things. We want to touch the things. We want to play with all the things. And while it's great if you're in a niche that is doing well, when that niche changes, you have to be willing to change. You have to be willing to look at what is really going on right now. And another thing I'd like to say about it is being able to think about things, not just think about turnover rate, your holding costs, restocking frequency, how fast it is, what kind of space you have. Do you know how much is involved in keeping certain things in your stock? If something takes 2 years to sell, is it worth you holding on to it if space is of a premium? There's just a lot of different layers for you guys to think about.
Yeah. And that's the thing is Trish does dig deep into all those and, profit margins and your revenue, your, all of that. And that factors into everything. But also consider stuff like, factor your fees in, like Kathy was talking about, your profits. And then other stuff kind of factors into that data. It's not just money. There's your seller ratings, your shipping performance, making sure you're shipping on time, making. Gina, it's me. This is my natural hair.
Gina
But
just
thank
won
you
the
so
day.
much.
Gina just won all of the day. Gina, you're now his new favorite.
All of the points won by Gina
All of the
today.
points went to Gina.
She is
But here's the thing.
today's.
One of the things I talk about in Mastermind is that you need to be honest with yourself, right? If you're somebody who is going to not do certain things, or be honest with yourself. If you buy something that you hate to resell and you're never going to list it, don't buy it, even if you could make money on it. You have to be able to make sure that you're being honest with yourself so that you know where you end up in the process.
Yeah. No,
Data
that's
drives
true.
when it takes a loss to unload the non-sellers. I've been doing that lately. Yeah. If space is not of a premium, if space is no object, then holding on to things for longer is not a big deal because you're not worried about the space. But if you're somebody who is space is of a premium, figuring out how fast things will turn over and how fast you can get your money back out, it matters more. Today I spoke at a seller meetup and there was about 30 people there. And I gave my little spiel that I give. And afterwards I take, questions and stuff. And this woman said to me, well, what do you do if it's a slow mover? And I said, well, how long have you had it? And she said, 32 days. And I said, 32 days? That is not a slow mover. So I think we also have to have some idea of how long certain things should take to sell. And that's different in different niches. And so data will help with all of this.
And one thing Trish talks about a lot too, I've heard her talk because I've known her for a few years. But she talks about too is you got to think about too is your cost of goods, what it costs, and then what you're going to make. But sometimes it's okay to take a little bit of a loss or get rid of something because you got to think about the long-term volume. So you're building that stuff up because sales get you more sales. And that's kind of the algorithm.
Velocity matters. Matters. And there are days where I will take a low ball offer that annoys us all, but I'll take a lowball offer if I haven't had a sale that day to get the ball rolling. So sometimes it's worth, velocity if you can. Sales beget sales. And Laurie wrote that also data drives what it takes a loss to unload it. And I think she's right. And she's talking 2 or 3 years. If you bought something 3 years ago and you haven't sold it, figure out why. Is it because your listing is bad? Is it because it's stale? Is it because it used to be a hot item and now it isn't? And get your money back out of it so you can reinvest into something that will make you money.
Yeah, yeah. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, Dave Snyder, our friend and eBay SEO expert, says there's no such thing as stale listings. If you think your listing is stale, it was stale when you listed it.
It's an interesting thing, and I used to agree with him wholeheartedly, but now since eBay screwed around with their algorithm, I am wondering how true that is anymore. And I'd really love to talk to him about it sometime. So can
Yeah,
you make that happen for me, Dougie? I'd really appreciate it.
yeah, we can get him on and he can talk about that, touch base with us. But yeah, I've heard that too, that, um, I've heard that too about delist, relist. Maybe it
Right.
works on eBay now. Think about that. And speaking of that, ladies and gentlemen, we've been told we could talk about this. We're eminently launching a delist, relist button that's going to make that. Thank you so much, Don. That's going to make it's so much easier to do that if you choose. And I think I like that it's a controversial topic. I think there's going to be always people that choose and always people that don't choose. But some of the stuff we're hearing from eBay now says differently, that maybe you should try and delist relist. But anyway, this delist relist button is coming soon for all plans, and it's going to be super easy. All you have to do is select your listings or bulk select your listings, hit that cross post button, and then there will be a new delist relist. You click that and it'll just go through, delist it, and then relist it. And again, it's all plans.
So I was never a proponent of this. This was something that I never told people to do, was delist, relist.
Yeah.
And now I am really looking at the data. See, again, data. I'm really looking at the data, and I'm really thinking that, something has changed on eBay's algorithm that is making it so that I think it's going to be worth people's time to delist, relist. But what is interesting to me is it was always good on other platforms. Like the delist, relist is always good for Mercari. Delist, relist. Oh, thanks, Gina. The delist, relist has always been good on Poshmark. So I don't know about Etsy. I do not sell enough on Etsy. So if anybody wants to put in the chat about the delist, relist on Etsy, because I do not sell enough on there to know anything. But the other platforms, those were always good for that platform. And the one holdout was eBay for my, and now I'm thinking maybe that it's going to be that way on EA. Now, I don't think that means 30 days. I just want to go on and list and saying that I don't think it's a 30-day thing. eBay takes a while to get indexed. eBay wants you to be shown in Google Shopping. eBay wants you to be shown. So it takes a little while for it all to get indexed.
Yeah, and think about.
Oh, and Kim, did you see what Kim wrote? Kim wrote the delist relist button is magic. See, girls and boys, Kim gets to play with the button. I have never seen the button. Have you seen the button?
I've seen the button.
See, where the hell am I? I'm traveling around Florida. I haven't seen it.
It's like a big red button that you want to press.
I haven't seen it.
That delist relist button is fire, as they say. But and think about this too is like, I know we're talking a lot about eBay, but and this is what I used to get a lot when I worked there, is like people don't trust the data. They don't trust eBay. They don't trust the data. You can trust that data. It's all very data driven, especially eBay has, whatever it is, 25, 28 years of buyer and seller data across multiple categories. They're the only company in the world that has that. Not even Amazon has that far back across all those categories, because they started selling books first. So eBay has that data. And, keep in mind across the board, every marketplace has something, some kind of dashboard you can look at. And some are better than others. Some are pretty powerful. Some are super high level. But, definitely we're going back to this. Look at the options, see what you have, and see what you want to use. And Trish said too, be realistic with yourself. If you are, what's the stuff you're going to make actionable? I mean, you can dig deep in Seller Center on eBay,
Right.
or you can just be like, take it at, okay, books sell more than clothes.
Well, and there are some people, Kaylee Elaine gets brought up every once in a while when we talk about this in Mastermind. Listen, if I get kicked out of my house because I don't have enough internet, then at least I can sit here and somebody can bring me a drink. There are payoffs for having to leave the house. But Kaylee Elaine is somebody who gets brought up quite often, and she doesn't buy anything without looking at the sell-through rate. I am not quite as sell-through rate specific. I am much more, sorry, Tommy. I'll drink with you when we're in Vegas, Tommy. I am not somebody who looks at it when I buy. As most of you guys who know me, you know that I buy blind. I'm buying in big batches. I am not picking out the items, and I'm buying based on price. So I'm buying for $1 or $2 at the most, and I'm buying blindly. I'm just buying, 1,000 items and moving it along, and then I sell what I get. So for me, what I look up is afterwards. So if I was to change my business model, if I was to go to a picking business model, I would look up everything before I bought it, because I think it would really change the game if I did that. But the way I buy, it's not worth it because I'm buying so cheap. So that's the other thing you need to think about. You need to think about how it works for you. So when I say look at the data, figure out what part of the data is going to improve what you're doing. The way I source is works for me. It's the way I source, and it's fine. But if I was to change the way I sourced, I would look at different data, if that makes sense. So think about what the data that you can get your hands on and how it would change what you're doing now. And for some of us, I also would like to say this. This came up today in the group that I was in. Anyone who's here from Mastermind, they've already heard me say this a million times. Account health, account health, account health. Be so careful of your eBay account. Make sure you're looking at your metrics. Make sure you know what your INAD is, item not as described. That data is so useful. And a lot of times we are not looking at it until we have a problem. Look at it off the regular. Have it on your 30-day checklist. Look at that data every 30 days. Know where you stand. Know where your account stands. Now, I don't know about Etsy again. Etsy and I are not the best of friends. I need to get better friends with Etsy. But so I don't know about the data on Etsy. I've heard people talk about star ratings on Etsy, and if you don't stay at 5, it can hurt your selling capabilities. So, that might be something you need to look on Etsy.
Yeah.
Poshmark, it doesn't seem to really work that way. Same with Mercari. But on eBay, your seller metrics matter. And so just make sure you're looking at that data. Okay, I would just like to say, Tommy, it's 6:30 here. It is not day drinking. It's 6:30.
And I'm going to add these somewhere. It's 6:30 somewhere. That's how.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere all the
there
time.
You go. So you do have a question, Trish. For those 1,000 items, do you list everything or bundle them, or do you donate back a certain percentage as not worth your time?
So, to be quite honest with you, what I call culling, culling, that's a lumber term, I think. I cull about 10% of it. And it is stuff so I'm buying from most of the time from consignment stores. So this is clothing that's already been on their floor. It's been hanging in their store, and it just didn't sell in their period, the 90-day period. So most of it is a really good condition because they took it into their store in the first place. So about 10 to 15% of it will get just redonated, and the rest I list no matter what it is. So, I try to have at least $25, but if it's lower than that, I'll do it. Because I have $1 into it, or maybe $2. So for me, it works.
Well, and so the interesting thing, and that factors into even what I do, because I source from my garage and storage, and there's stuff I've had for years. And at some point, they say, like, when you're getting rid of stuff, you've already spent the money. Don't worry about that, to a degree, I think. But I've got so many books that I've gotten for free that I can, it's just like, if I can make a couple bucks, $5, usually I make $2 to $5, which is fine for me. And then I do charge, because of that, I do charge shipping, but I've got some others that I make more on. I sold a couple earlier this week, $30 a pop. So that's good. But it just, yeah, kind of depends on your sourcing situation and everything that factors in. I mean, if you're going out and you're paying $5, $10 a pop, you're going to want to make, a certain profit back for sure. And hopefully someday maybe that changes for me, is like I'm going out and I'm sourcing more and more,
Well,
and
and
maybe
for
have to.
me, I think like I already have it here. It's already in my house. Like for me, I kind of think I kind of agree with you. I already have it. It's here. Let me just get it listed. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to spend. I'm just talking about getting it up and listed. I am not talking about
Yeah,
spending a lot of time. I'm not talking about research. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying like it's a normal, sweater from, wherever. And you put it up for $20 and keep it moving. I'm fine with that.
yeah,
Stuff that needs a lot of research, that's different than what I'm
yeah.
talking about. Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Because it's sweater wetter.
Right. Sweater weather.
I mean, so here's a good example. I've got this. Oh, they're back out in their box in the garage, in their stackable avocado box from Costco, ladies and gentlemen. We got Costco delivered yesterday. No avocado boxes. I was disappointed. They're so nice and stackable. So I have this old set of books from 1900, the works of Honoré de Balzac, and I can't find them anywhere. I find other versions, I've been googling, and some of them go for a lot, like no joke, a lot. I mean, I think I've let some stuff go cheaper than it could have gone, but these, I don't know. I might have to go to a private bookseller or something like that. And I had all these plans to
Did
take them
you
out to
look?
Vegas.
Did you look up at Worth Point?
I don't have a Worth Point account, Tritch.
Well, I am sure that between the two of us, we must know a few people who have a Worth Point account who can look it up for you, Mr. Douglas.
There you go, maybe so. But stop the show. Tommy in Seattle says, "Hello, Susan and Carol. Welcome to the best YouTube show on the
The
internet.
best on the
The,
internet?
the
Man,
greatest YouTube show you will watch
we have
today."
got Tommy snowed, man. Tommy is snowed.
He's been day drinking.
He's been day drinking, right?
I'm in the same boat, Doug. I have so much stuff that has no cogs, costs of goods, but I'm trying to focus my time on listing $20 plus. I'm not sure if I should donate the rest or bundle them. Yeah, and that's a good example of doing some research and doing some data.
Yeah. So,
Thanks, Lori.
thanks, Lori. See, I knew somebody had one. Kelly, here's the thing. You already have it in your house. I think it would depend for me how fast I could do it. If it was a fast list, I think I would do it. If it took too much time and it wasn't worth $20, I wouldn't do it. That's how I would handle it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So I just want to talk about data segmentation. Just making up my own words. Data segmentation. So thinking about it in a way that, is this worth selling? Looking it up in a certain way. Once you own it,
Sorry, I started to doze off there, Trish, with those big words.
That was boring for you, my data segmentation. No, but I guess what I want to make sure is that you realize that there is different data that gives you different things, right? There's sourcing data, but then there's also data like how long it takes to sell, how long the turnover is, what, things like that. And then also think about the data for your own store. Like look at your own sell-through rate. Look at your own velocity of your store. Maybe it's worth having some lower end items. Like Kelly, if those lower end items would be fast sellers, I would say that may be worth it because you'll sell more of high end stuff. You get if that lower end stuff is selling fast. Sometimes you need to have a balance of stuff in your stores to keep the velocity going. So there's just a lot of layers.
Indeed. And I will try Abe Books. Thanks. Just a title, put them up in auction starting at $2. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
That's an interesting thing. So what I would like to say about that is the Salvation Army that we were at yesterday, they do auctions. So they have in-person auctions, but they have a small eBay team, and I mean small, 2 guys, and they put up about 20 items a day, and it's all auctions. And they start them all, no matter what it is, at $19.99. So no matter what it is, it starts at $19.99. And I said to him, why do you do that? And he said to me, well, the powers that be told me to. So, okay, I get it. You got marching orders. I would like to know what the decision-making process is behind that. And I said to him, I think it's probably a storage issue, right? If you're doing 20 auctions a day, every week you're selling stuff every week because the auctions are going to sell. And I said, so what happens when an auction doesn't sell? He said, if it didn't sell, he'll put it up again. And then at the second time, if he doesn't think it's worth selling, he'll put it in the store to be sold at a lower price, or he'll mark it down to $9.99 and try it for a third time. And then the bigger stuff he puts on Facebook Marketplace. So he had a compressor there yesterday, a brand new compressor somebody had donated to the Salvation Army. And he sold it to I think he was a painter. He came in, he bought it when I was there. He came in and gave they did the transaction. But the bigger stuff that he said he doesn't want to have to worry about shipping, he'll sell it that way. And what I thought was interesting about it was I said to him, it's something like 80 or 90% of everything sold on eBay is through Buy It Now. Auctions are very small amount of what eBay does now.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if I have to look at the numbers. This is the data that I would be interested in. I would be interested in to know how much of it is selling regularly. Would it be useful for us all to run an auction every single week? Would we all would that low end stuff, Kelly or Laurie, would that be good at a low end auction to see what happened just for some velocity in your store? So that's the kind of data that I would be interested in figuring out. And I think I'm going to do a little research and see if I can figure out if it might be worth us doing.
Yeah, definitely. And, try those different things, be open to new stuff, always be open to learn. We talk about that stuff all the time. And then, when we talk about the actionable data, take a look at the stuff that you can get. And there's a term KPI, which is a key performance indicator. So it's kind of something that you want to focus on and something that you think is going to help. And you don't have to go super deep into this stuff, but kind of focus on that stuff that you think is going to help you. Familiarize yourself with the dashboards across the way. And List Perfectly's got some data stuff, sales and analytics that can help you as well. But again, not every marketplace dashboard is going to be eBay Seller Hub, which is great. It's probably the Cadillac of seller dashboards.
But I would stress that using eBay's dashboard to extrapolate how you're doing on your other platforms that don't give you the data is the key to using it. If you keep your eBay store in tip-top shape, right, you can extrapolate that you're going to be doing it also on the other platforms. The thing that we know about the other platforms is that they turn over faster than eBay, right? So we know that listings that Mercari themselves say listings go stale after 30 days on Mercari. So we know that that's a data point that we know. So maybe we need to put into our rotation that the data that the eBay, that our Mercari listings to get turned over, delist, relist, at the 30-day mark. And unfortunately, sometimes what you learn through the data is I have to do more work. And that's how we feel about Mercari. I don't know if you would agree with that, Doug, or not.
Yeah, well, I mean, for sure. And that kind of depends on whether you want to use the data or not. So it's like, could be like, for me, it'd probably be like, oh, certain types of books sell more than others. So get more of those certain types of books if
Right.
you want to go into that. And then again, it's like, yeah, I hope I get to that day where I'm going out and sourcing. But right now, I mean, I've got so much stuff, books and clothes and
That's so
some other
funny.
stuff.
So do you want to go source? Does that sound fun? Have you ever sourced?
I mean, I've gone on the trips, and it is fun to me. I do like it. And one a few months back, my son and I went to, I don't know what we went to. I think a track meet or something for him, and we came back, and we like to stop at the thrift stores. So we were at like kind of an indie store, and we went in there, and they'd obviously bought a Chicago Cubs baseball cap collection.
Oh,
And
okay.
I looked at it and I was like, yeah, these are selling on eBay for 10 to $20 a pop. And I think they were selling at 10. And I thought about, maybe throw $100 down and get, some hats. But we do enjoy, my son especially, he loves Ross, Marshalls.
Hey,
Um,
listen, there are resellers who have their whole business models as Ross,
yeah.
Marshalls, TJ Maxx, and that is all comp based. They're not
Oh,
going in
yeah.
there, they're not going in there willy nilly and just buying everything, because you can buy at Marshalls, you can buy stuff that's worth nothing, or you can buy stuff that you can really make money on. And so that is all comp based. And so being able to comp fast, and comp accurate is really important.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And then, think about it. So you've got your phone. I mean, a lot of booksellers will use scanners, or maybe what is
Mm-hmm.
that? There's like Scout IQ and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. But you've also got your phone, and it's much easier to search than it used to be. You can do image search on eBay, see what's selling. You can do, obviously there's Google Lens, or Google Lens in List Perfectly. And I know some people that while they are shopping, they'll start their draft. They'll buy something, or
Yes.
they know they're going to buy it. They will start their draft in List Perfectly.
So Gina just wrote, which made me giggle, is willy nilly related to Millie Vanilli? I don't know why. Don't you guys say willy nilly? Is that a New England thing?
It's one of your Boston terms. You said something this morning, and obviously, ladies and gentlemen, Trish and I are good friends. We chat all the time. We work together. We work very closely. But you said something this morning that was even an odd term for you, and I laughed at the time, and I wish I could remember what it was. I don't know.
I think I speak absolutely normal. And then I talk to you people and I think, where the hell did I grow up? Because this crap I say is totally normal. I used to do that eBay started draft and include my price, but now I need to do an LP. Yeah. Listen, if you're an LP person, if you are not an LP person, start an eBay for lots of reasons. Start an eBay. If you're an LP person, start in List Perfectly. You are going to get a better listing from using List Perfectly and bring it into eBay, in my opinion. List Perfectly, especially if you're using Listing Assistant, our ability to help you write a good listing and then bring it into eBay. I mean, you can get a great listing with really good item specifics in a very few clicks.
Oh
It's
yeah.
becoming better and better all the time. I'm really, really happy with it. And it's something we don't talk a lot about, Doug. And I think we should really start, because, what used to take me, listings are getting faster and faster and faster. And that is just, and better, not just
Yeah.
faster and crappy, faster and better.
I mean, technically, with me, um, and I think you got to use Listing Assistant. Technically, with me, so I take my photos on my phone, and keep in mind too that that auto saves now, so that'll save in your list perfectly, so it'll be there. And then now I've shifted to where I go to the desktop and I use the Listing Assistant there because it adds more stuff.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of stuff I will wind up spending more time on the images, like removing the backgrounds and cropping them, than I do in the rest of the listing.
Yep.
And it used to definitely not be that way.
No.
So now it's just kind of like I check everything, I put something in the condition field, and then I put the price, and then I put the weight and the measurements, and then it's pretty much ready to list.
So, Susan said I may start listing on eBay, but lots of mine I need research on eBay and Google first. So let me just say this. If you have List Perfectly, I think starting in LP is your best bet for lots of different reasons. If you do not use List Perfectly, do not start in Poshmark, no matter what you do. Do not start in Mercari and then bring it over and try to transpose it.
Yeah.
Start in eBay. It will give you the best picture quality when you cross list. It will give you the most data when you cross list. So if you are somebody who uses our simple plan, or if you're using somebody else and you're just cross posting or cross listing, please start in eBay. It will give you the best chance for the best listing. People who started in Posh and then started and came over, a lot of people have to redo their photos. Posh suppresses your photos, and Posh is a difficult thing. Yeah, you got to be careful.
Interesting bird. And think about too is if you list and list perfectly, your listings are going to be in there. They're going to be backed up, and you can take advantage of all those inventory tools, and you can take advantage of all the analytics, because your calendar or your catalog does have to be synced up and healthy, as Trish said. So we've got those other things like Issue Finder. You click that, it scans your listing and tells you, some potential issues that you could have. Like I used to do when I first started selling, I would do I was eBay and Mercari, and I would do the whole, I sell this at the time, toys, collectibles, and books. Please check out my other eBay listings. Please check out my other Mercari listings. So then when I first started using List Perfectly, I would get some Mercari listings that were like, please check my eBay listings, and vice versa. And that issue finder helped me identify those. It's like, yeah, you're mentioning eBay on Mercari or Mercari on eBay, or, stuff that's disconnected. And yeah, Kathy's, the Poshmark images are not the best quality or the best size. So if you import from there, you will likely have.
Yeah. So, you guys, when you bring it into eBay and then you go into a good eBay listing and you can roll over it and it blows up the resolution so you can see really small down. When you bring it in from Poshmark, you lose the ability. And sometimes they don't even take them. The resolution has been condensed so much. And that is just the way that Poshmark stores your images. And so one of the great things about LP is that we store your images at what they come in. So if they come in at a certain resolution, they stay at that resolution. So every time you cross list it to another platform, they stay at that resolution. So people who started on Posh, sometimes it's a hard transition for them to go to another. So yeah, save your pictures on LP. I agree with Kathy. And for us people who've been around for a while, we had Picture Mageddon in, I think, 2018. Was it 2018, Doug?
I believe so.
I think it was. And so one day we were at eBay Open in 2018. It was either 18 or 19. And all of the photos from anything listed on a certain day or renewed on a certain day, all the photos were gone. They lost all the photos. And so there were people with hundreds and hundreds of listings. Did you work there then, Doug?
You said that was 2018?
I think so.
And I think that happened. Yeah, that happened. If it happened at eBay Open, I was there. And that's opposed to item specifics palooza, which I was at Ecom Chicago with Brian Burke, and we first heard about it from sellers, and then people started coming up and what's these item specifics are crazy. But yeah, picture Mageddon. Luckily though, I managed to stay a little bit behind the scenes on that one.
It was hard. And I was lucky at the time. Yeah, Susan, it was tough. At the time, I was lucky because I had Ink Frog, which isn't really used anymore. But at the time, I had it because Diane Lassonde, my friend Diane, who has since passed, she had it. And she said to me, you really need this. What if something happens? And so I just happened to say, okay. And I got it and it would back up my photos. And so when it happened, I just had to go into my listings and change something and all the photos came back. But I had friends, Patty Kaufman being one of them, who had to redo like hundreds of photos. It was awful. It was awful. Yeah. And so the great thing about having something like this perfectly is we hold your photos. So, and we hold them at the same resolution. So you don't have these issues. So, you know, there's a lot of things. And one of the things that the data shows me is that having a backup is always a good idea. So I love the fact that I have my listings on eBay and I also have them in LP and I also have them here and I also have them there. And then if anything happens, I can always make it right. On any of the platforms, I can always fix it.
Exactly. And it's good to have that backup. And we know sellers that use List Perfectly pretty much just to back up their stuff.
Exactly.
Because they've been through that picture palooza.
And also it's great for if you're somebody who, let's use Susie Eads as an example, you know, you got 20 of this bra this year and you may not get it again, but next year you may get that bra again. You can go in, get your photos you took and just have a new listing made. You don't have to retake everything. So sometimes having access to the data that's yours, that's your data, that's your photos, that's your history, that eBay is not going to keep forever, but we do. And being able to go in and look at what sold 2 years ago, what I did then, and how it's changed, that can be helpful also.
Thank you, Tommy.
Yeah.
eBay manipulated that data.
It lied, Tommy.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And this is one of my favorite List Perfectly hacks. Yeah.
Yeah. So Desiree came and went to the Salvation Army thing. Desiree came and took the train up.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was great to see her. She is very short. I didn't expect her to be so short.
Oh.
We learned today we are not, what is it? We are not charged for a new color background. Oh, cool.
There you go. All right, well, let's sum it up before we go.
Sum it up there, Dougie.
Or we can let Trish eat her pizza or pasta or whatever she's ordering.
I gotta have to order something now.
See what's rad, ladies and gentlemen. Trish and I do travel a lot to a lot of events, and we will be at Boss. But now, especially the last, I don't know, maybe year or so, I get Trish's leftovers.
He does.
So
ever since I went on this diet, Doug eats whatever I don't finish.
There you go. Kathy says, I keep a picture of the item without background taken out just in case I get an accusation.
It's a good idea, Kathy. That is a really good idea because people do every once in a while say, I want to see the real item because they think the background remover can make people think it's a stock photo when it isn't. That's a great idea, Kathy.
And seriously, our background remover is no joke. I mean, the examples I can give you guys, like when we did eBay Open at all the different locations, I was in a bar in Los Angeles taking pictures of stuff in a dark bar and taking the background out. And then last night I have a black desktop here that's a big open area, so I put stuff on there. I've got my lights. I took a picture of an old Kids Connect 4 game thing, and it cleared out the background and all the little holes in the grid. But the best is, and I should have saved, I'll have to see if I have the picture, but my dogs, Moose and Kevin, always sleep behind here. They've got their beds, and they're laid in some certain array in the office. And I have a piece of cardboard that I lay down when I list clothing, and then I do, the above photo. So I was doing that. There's the cardboard and there's a shirt or a pair of pants or whatever.
And a
And
dog.
then you can see my feet. You can see maybe my little, my belly sticking out a little bit. And then a dog here and a dog there. And then I click that little button, all goes away, and you just have the shirt.
So Susan wrote, yeah, most of my last pics have no background taken out. So just in full disclosure, I don't take any backgrounds out. I have built myself a little photo thing with a beige gray background piece of carpet that I don't even do the background remover, but I have played around with it when I'm out, like Doug was talking about. If I'm out somewhere sourcing, which I don't do very
Yeah.
often, but if I am, I'll do it then. I do think that Susan has a great point. And same with Kathy. If you do it and keep a couple with the real background in it, sometimes that gives depth of feel when people look through your photos and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, you really have
Yeah.
this, Yeah.
Well, and the white background thing came, and I think it's not as rigid as it once was, but it used to be that from the marketplaces, Google Shopping wouldn't show listings that didn't have a white background.
So I get indexed in Google Shopping. That used to be the case that I didn't unless I did the background removal. And then they kind of eased up on it and they just want a plain neutral background. And now I do. So I went back to not taking them out. It just makes my process faster. I know a lot of you guys do it because you think it, I don't mean it make it sound like I don't, but it looks more professional. You like the way it looks. Just for what I sell, low end, used clothing, I'm cool with it. Just, I don't want to spend the time.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining. Quick recap. Tracking and understanding the right metrics is important. Take a look at those options. Pick what you want to focus on. Pick what's actionable, something you can do something with. Be familiar with the tools. I know some of you still use spreadsheets. I can't remember where I was. Maybe it was PoshFest. I remember talking to a seller who uses a binder and writes things out, and that's how they still keep track of their inventory. And I was like, wow, that's old school.
That's old school.
And then, but you think of something like the List Perfectly dashboard. If you've got all your stuff in there, if you list from there, obviously you've got the backup of your images, you've got the backup of your data, but you've got all those different options to track things. Like obviously you've got listed and unlisted, active, inactive. But my process is I will take a picture of something, and literally at first it's a draft until it's ready to go. And then I bank up my drafts. And then when it's ready to go, I take it off draft mode in LP, and then it's in unlisted. And then I know those are ready to list. And so I always try to keep that bank up a bit, but it's always also a challenge. And then again, if you start tracking even some of this data, you'll see success, business growth. And again, always like basically it's do more of what works and less of what's not working.
Exactly. And that just takes you looking at it. That just takes you really looking at it and seeing what's really selling and why. Figure out if you can see why it is. Is it a price point? Is it a maker? What is it? And then do more of that and less of the other stuff. You're exactly right. And that is why, figure out how you source, figure out how you just need to be more honest with yourself and look at what you're really doing and seeing what's working.
Yeah. And being honest with yourself is believing the data. I mean, correct. It's pretty black and white.
Very true.
Trust the marketplace data. One thing too is not only do the marketplaces have these resources that like the literal dashboards that show your data, they also have great resources related to how to use them, how to, suggestions on selling more. I was looking at my Mercari data this morning on my phone, and you just scroll down, it's all there, but they also have like how-to resources like right there in the mobile version of their analytics dashboard. But everybody's got great help centers and resources or blogs that you can search. Even List Perfectly, we've got that cool little widget down in the corner that takes you to List Perfectly help/support. and go in there and search sales and analytics, and you will get some articles up that will help you out. I see spreadsheets.
Yeah, so Tommy wrote, I know some who do separate spreadsheets. Data is good info, but I'm including cost of goods and keeping LP analytics up to date. Is that good enough? Absolutely, Tommy. That is great for you. I guess what I'm talking about is looking at your store as a whole and looking at the data that maybe you're not paying attention to. Are you looking at the data when you're buying things? Are you deciding what you're buying based on sold comps? I am not saying that you need to be tracking more. I think those two things are great. But what can you influence? Can you influence by buying different? Can you look and see, like, is there certain things that sell at a certain price point? Can you run a sale? Maybe you need to up your prices. See what you're doing and what is working for you. And also, everybody, keep track of what you're listing a day. If there's one thing that I would say that we do not track as much in the data that I think we should, is what you're listing a day and what you're listing a week, because I think you'll find that if you consistently list, you will have better sales.
And no, I mean, that would be a great thing. And see what you're doing is, list more to sell more. And then think of those, some of those every once in a while, maybe taking a $1 or $2 hit to keep the volume up.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
then, yeah, exactly. And the other thing too, the big thing with data and analytics is you want to give it some time.
Yep.
I mean, don't give it a week.
Nope.
Ideally, you want to give it a month, ideally 90 days, and look at these different things, because you'll see trends, and you'll see,
Agreed.
like, for example, Trish and I do the podcast, and we can literally go in and see what people listen to more, and then you kind of dial that in. So we know that when we do a seller story, people listen to that much more than a lot of the other episodes because they love seller stories. And then, but that's aggregate data we can take a look at. Same thing with, like, the blog that we have is, yeah, we put a lot of List Perfectly stuff out, but we put a lot of seller resource stuff out and eBay stuff on the List Perfectly blog, the seller community blog. eBay stuff really does well. People search for that stuff, and we get a lot of traffic.
eBay's the big dog. I mean, let's all be serious. It's eBay's sandbox. All the other platforms are just trying to get a little bit of the sand. eBay's the big dog. Building your business should be eBay centric, in my view.
There you go.
You should view it as an eBay centric, and I think the other platforms will fall in line.
There you go. eBay's the big dog, and I
right.
sometimes refer to myself as Big Papa.
Oh my, I've never heard you say that.
I'm going to yell it constantly in Las Vegas on Fremont Street. That'll be...
Tommy, you're going to have to come help me. I can't deal with that.
When I got to find my laminated "if found, return to Trish."
Yeah. He has a tag he wears around his neck that says, if found, if lost, return to Trish.
Because I walk around, I've got my backpack, and I'm like,
oh, Lordy Lord. All right, well, thank you, Dougie.
Thank you. We're going to let Trish eat. Thanks, everybody, for popping in. Great. That's right. I will wear a glove on my one hand. Thank you for coming to see us every week. We appreciate all of you that said we are the greatest YouTube show on the internet, the greatest of all time.
Nuts.
And then Friday, so we'll be back next week. Trish and Doug's show, Reseller Tips from List Perfectly. We'll be at, if you would like to see us at many of our various upcoming appearances, you can see us, maybe find us at Boss, Catch Me Outside. And then Fridays at 11, we also have 11 Pacific, 12/1/2 Eastern. We also have the Friday YouTube Live. This week will be the redux of eBay promotions.
We'll try it again this week. Where I will be, who knows? Hopefully on a beach.
There you go, a beach somewhere. Tommy wants to meet us by the Naked Firemen on Fremont. I was going to
say, I've never seen the Naked Firemen on Fremont, and I've been there quite a few times.
Well, keep an eye out for them this time.
Goodbye, everybody. Hope you all have a good night. Thank you for stopping in. Dougie, as usual, always a pleasure.
All right, thanks. Yes, and thank you as well, Trish. Enjoy your pizza and whatever
Thank you.
libation. And we'll see you guys soon. Thanks, everybody.